Good morning, students, and welcome to my YouTube channel, that is English Learning. My dear students, today I will discuss about Coleridge and the romantic imagination. If you like my discussion, please share and also put comments. So I was talking about Coleridge and the romantic imagination. In his Biographia Literaria, Coleridge makes a distinction between fancy and imagination. Fancy for Coleridge is a lower faculty that is employed for tasks that are passive and mechanical. My dear students, fancy. Let me first talk about fancy. Fancy is concerned with the mechanical operation of the mind. May I repeat? Fancy is concerned with the mechanical operations of the mind, such as the passive accumulation of the data and the storage of such data in the memory. That is fancy. Whereas imagination on the other hand extracts hidden ideas and meaning from each data and is a creative power. This is the basic difference between fancy and imagination. So my dear students, according to Coleridge, fancy has no other counters to play with but fixities and definities. The fancy is indeed no other than a mode of memory emancipated from the border of time and space and blended with and modified by the empirical phenomenon of the will, which we express by the word choice. Fancy brings together images, and even when brought together, they continue to retain their individual properties. He then further divides imagination into two different kinds: primary imagination and secondary imagination. The primary imagination is defined as the living power and prime agent of all human perception. Whereas the secondary imagination is an echo of the former. It dissolves, diffuses, dissipates in order to recreate. The secondary imagination represented a superior faculty which could only be associated with artistic genius. So this is the basic idea, basic concept of imagination and fancy. The primary imagination is merely the power of receiving impressions of the external world through the senses. May I repeat? What is primary imagination? The primary imagination is merely the power of receiving impressions of the external world through the senses, and it is possessed by everyone. What I want to mean is that primary imagination is possessed by each and every person. This is the view of Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and he had clearly stated this in his literary Biographia Literaria. So very simple person has also this primary imagination. On the other hand, the secondary imagination works upon what is perceived by the primary imagination. May I repeat? Secondary imagination works upon what is perceived by the primary imagination. Its raw material is the sensation and impressions supplied to. it by the primary imagination. So primary imagination and secondary imagination are not the same. They are different from each other, and they have been clearly distinguished by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. This primary imagination and secondary imagination played a very pivotal and dominant role during the Romantic period or the Romantic revival. So without primary imagination and secondary imagination, we can never conceive Romantic revival. This is very important aspect of Romantic movement, and this is also another important aspect of Romantic manifesto, which is called Lyrical Ballads, which was published in 1798. This was a joint venture of William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. So I hope that you have understood the different aspects of imagination and the difference between primary imagination and secondary imagination. They are very essential aspects for the students who are studying in BA with honors in English and MA in English. So you should know very clearly, you should have a quite good perception about primary imagination and secondary imagination. I hope that you have all understood these two basic ingredients of Romantic movement. So if you like, please share please share this video and also put your comments. Thank you once again. I will be back tomorrow with a new topic. Thank you once again and goodbye.